I want to say, first of all, thank you so much to the Northern California botanists for helping to fund this project. I also thank you so much for the opportunity now to share some progress on this project, first of all, and then second, I'm going to discuss more broadly how floristic studies can be really essential sources of botanical data. So when I was a kid, I used to go camping with my family up in the Sierra Nevada, and we'd look at these really expansive, rugged, rocky landscapes like these. But then we'd go hiking out on these landscapes, and I'd just be amazed that once you saw them up close, instead of just being gray, they would be filled to the brim with really interesting plant diversity, really interesting colors and textures. And so that's an idea that really stuck with me. And one area of the same mountain range that's piqued my interest in recent years is the McGee Creek Watershed, which is in Mono County on the eastern slope of the range. And this is a watershed that also has some really rugged and rocky slopes. Some of these slopes even seem inhospitable to life. But I've been dying to know what plant diversity must cover these slopes that we don't know about yet. And so in 2024, I started a floristic study of this watershed, or in other words, a project collecting voucher specimens to try to document all types of plant species growing in this drainage, both vascular and non-vascular. And this watershed is about 26 square miles in total. Now, not that many collections of plants have been made by botanists in the McGee Creek watershed itself, but nearby watersheds like the Convict Creek watershed and the Rock Creek watershed have been more extensively studied, and so that gives us some idea of what's likely to grow in the McGee Creek watershed. And then we also have several thousand iNaturalist observations that hikers have made of plants in this area. And so then the question is, how well does this existing data, several thousand iNaturalist observations and other photo observations, and then a few hundred herbarium collections, how well does this represent the botanical diversity of the watershed? And then what can a floristic study tell us about this region's plants that we don't already know? And so in 2024, I finished the first of 2 summers collecting data for this project. And now we're just going to look at a few examples of many, showing how a floristic study like this can tell us a whole lot. First, a number of collections made in 2024 are of species that, to my knowledge so far, at least right now, haven't been collected previously in Mono County. This includes Erythranthe lineata, which is on the CMPS rare plant inventory. Also Juncus articulatus, subspecies articulatus, Lithophragma bollanderi. There's a really terrific aquatic plant, Potamogeton amplifolius, which is ginormous. The stems were well over 12 feet tall where I found it, and it did involve swimming. And then introduced plant Festuca trachyphylla, which was in a grazed meadow. Existing data also vastly underappreciated the wealth of rare and threatened plants growing in the McGee Creek watershed. Data fieldwork in 2024 increased the number of rare threatened species collected in the watershed from 3 to 33. And some of these new occurrences include very slight range extensions for 4 of these species. And then lastly, just to summarize the data altogether now, my current best estimate so far is that if one were to try to estimate plant diversity in the McGee Creek watershed using only data that was available before 2024, I think this would underestimate diversity in the watershed by almost 500 minimum rate taxa. This is a watershed that's just so heterogeneous in slope aspect and elevation, and especially in geology. So if you're interested in marble, come talk to me afterwards. So much so that a lot of plant species seem to be restricted to very small areas in the drainage. And this mosaic of plant distributions makes it super easy to underestimate plant diversity without a more thorough survey. And so even in a state where we have such a rich history of botanical collection, there's so much worthwhile data that's out there to collect that can change our understanding of the diversity and the distribution and the changes in diversity and distribution and the conservation of the amazing plants that we share the planet with. Thank you.